the small crowned one who could reignite a forgotten empire. The desert world of Arvin was quiet in a way that felt wrong. The wind moved over broken metal and old stone, but nothing living made a sound. Long ago, Arvin had been important. Ships once landed here every hour. Towers once touched the sky. Now the planet was forgotten, left to dust and ghosts. A small human boy walked alone across the sand. His name was Noah. He was not brave in the way heroes were shown in stories. He was thin, young, and often afraid. His clothes were torn from travel, and his boots were too big for his feet. He should not have been alone on a world like this, but war had a way of breaking families and scattering survivors. Noah had been searching for scrap to trade, old wire, broken parts, anything that could earn him food at the edge settlements. That was when the ground beneath his feet gave a soft hum. He stopped walking. The sound was deep and slow, like a giant heart waking up under the sand. Noah felt it in his chest. The air grew warm, and the dust around his boots began to move, sliding away from a half-buried shape. Noah knelt and brushed the sand aside with his hands. What he uncovered was a crown. It was small, made of dark metal, smooth and unbroken by time. Strange lines ran along its surface, faintly glowing. It did not look heavy, yet when Noah touched it, his hand shook. The moment his fingers closed around the crown, the world changed. Light burst from the sand in a wide circle. Old machines buried for centuries came alive. Towers rose slowly from beneath the ground, shaking dust into the sky. Symbols burned bright on their sides, symbols no one living remembered. Noah cried out and dropped the crown. It did not fall. The crown floated in the air, turning slowly, waiting. Then, as if guided by an unseen hand, it lowered itself onto Noah's head. The light stopped. The desert was silent again. Noah stood frozen, his heart racing. The crown felt warm, not heavy. It fit him perfectly, as if it had been made for him alone. Far away, machines older than memory sent a signal into deep space, and someone was listening. At the edge of Arvin's dead cities, a man named Rook watched the sky through cracked lenses. He had been a pilot once, before the wars took his squad and his ship. Now he survived by moving goods between forgotten worlds. He had planned to leave Arvin that morning. Then his scanners screamed. Energy levels surged across the planet. Old frequencies, imperial codes that should not exist anymore. Rook swore under his breath. Something impossible had just happened. Not far from Noah's position, scavenger ships changed course. These were not traders or settlers. They were hunters who followed signals like blood in the water. Their leader, a sharp-eyed alien called Kar, smiled as the readings grew stronger. "Find the source," Kar ordered. Alive if possible. Noah did not know any of this. He only knew that the crown showed him things when he closed his eyes. Broken fleets, burning worlds, humans standing at the center of vast halls, speaking as rulers, not beggars. The images were fast and confusing, and they scared him. Footsteps broke his focus. Shapes moved between the ruined buildings. Armed figures, not friendly. Noah ran. He did not understand how he knew where to go, but his feet carried him through narrow paths and fallen walls. Doors opened before him. Old lifts worked when he touched their panels. The city itself seemed to guide him. A blast of energy struck the ground behind him, throwing sand into the air. Noah fell hard. Before the scavengers could reach him, A loud engine roar cut through the chaos. A battered ship dropped from the sky, firing warning shots. A ramp slammed down, and a man shouted from inside, "Kid, move now!" Noah did not think. He ran. Strong hands pulled him into the ship. The ramp closed and the engines burned bright as they lifted away from the ruins. Only when they reached the clouds did Noah finally look at his rescuer. Rook met his eyes and then stared at the crown. His face went pale. "That," Rook said slowly, "is not something you should be wearing." Noah swallowed. "It chose me." Rook had no answer for that. Behind them, in the dark, between stars, ancient systems, fully awakened. The forgotten empire had found its crown again. Noah sat in the back of the ship, his small hands clutching the crown. His heart still beat fast from the attack. He did not know if it was the crown that saved him, or Rook, but for the first time he felt the weight of what was happening. The crown pulsed softly against his head, warm like a living thing. Rook sat in the cockpit, scanning the skies. His old ship creaked and groaned, holding together by hope and skill. He did not speak much. Noah could tell he was thinking about what would happen next. Then a voice came from the back.
"I told you this ship could not stay hidden for long," said Lena. She was young, sharp, and stubborn.
Her hair was tied in a messy braid, and grease covered her hands and face. She leaned over a control panel, examining readings. "And someone is already tracking us." Noah turned to look at her. "Who?" "Hunters," she said simply. "They are fast, and they know what they want. Whoever wears that crown has value far beyond money." Noah swallowed. He had never felt so small and important at the same time. The crown seemed heavy now, not on his head, but in his mind. It whispered of things he could not understand. Fleets, cities, empires. The visions made his stomach twist. Rook did not answer, keeping his eyes on the sensors. "We need a plan," he said finally. "They will not stop chasing us. We have to move fast and think faster." The ship dipped and turned, leaving the dust clouds of Arvin behind. Stars stretched across the windows like silver rivers. Noah pressed his face to the glass, watching the planets pass. He thought about the crown, about the ruins he had fled, about the machines that had awakened beneath the sand. It felt impossible that all of this was real, and yet here he was, flying through space with two strangers who seemed to care whether he lived. "Do you know what that crown is?" Noah asked Lena, his voice small. She shook her head. "I have read about crowns like that in old archives. Not many remain. They were said to belong to the rulers of an empire so vast it could reach the stars. The empire disappeared long ago, and anyone who wore a crown like that was a king. Or a target." A target. That was exactly what he was now. Tor, a quiet alien mercenary with dark scales and glowing yellow eyes, sat across from him. He did not speak often, but when he did, it was calm and precise. "You are not a king yet," he said softly. "The crown chooses yes, but you must learn. Power is not given, it is understood." Noah looked at him, confused. "Understand what?" "Responsibility," Tor said simply. "Control. The galaxy does not forgive weakness, and those who hunt you will not hesitate." The warning made Noah feel even smaller, but also more awake. He felt the crown pulse again, as if encouraging him to listen. Hours passed in tense silence. The ship moved through asteroid fields, weaving in ways that made the hunters struggle to follow. Every now and then a warning light flashed, and Lena adjusted the engines. Rook muttered calculations, old skills from before the wars, keeping them just ahead. Then the ship's sensors screamed. A fleet had found them. Not a few scouts, but a small armada, sleek ships, bristling with weapons. The hunters had not wasted time. Vexar, their commander, had arrived. Noah froze. The crown grew warmer, almost burning against his head. It felt alive, aware of danger. Rook cursed under his breath. We cannot outrun them. Not all of them. Lena's hands moved fast across the panels. There is a hidden path through the field. We can try, but if we fail, we're dead. Tor stood. I will help. If they touch this ship, they touch me first. Noah swallowed and looked at them. He wanted to hide. He wanted to scream, but the crown did something strange. It sent images into his mind, lights, pathways, explosions. It showed him a way. Without thinking, he pointed at a blinking dot on the console. That way, he shouted. Rook looked at him. You see a path? Noah nodded, feeling the crown guide him. Trust me. For the first time, the crew hesitated, then followed Noah's lead. The ship dove through the asteroid field, engines screaming, alarms blaring. Tor fired warning shots at pursuing ships. Lena adjusted shields and thrusters with perfect timing. Rook maneuvered the ship as if it were alive, his hands steady. Noah stayed at the console, feeling the crown and following its instructions. Every movement, every turn, every blink of light felt directed by the crown itself. Vexar's voice came through the calm but terrifying. You cannot hide, little one. That crown belongs to me. Hand it over, and I might spare your friends. Noah felt a chill. He had no choice but to keep moving. Then, at the edge of the field, a hidden satellite from the old empire activated. It fired a single energy beam that cut through the leading ships, sending them spinning into asteroids. The hunters screamed in surprise, unable to understand what had just happened. The satellite, controlled by the crown, targeted the threats and kept Noah's ship safe. The small crew barely had time to breathe as the ship exited the asteroid field. They were alive, but they knew the fight was far from over. Noah finally removed the crown for a moment. His hair stuck to his forehead with sweat. I don't know how I did that, he whispered. Rook shook his head. You don't have to understand. Just survive. That is enough for now, but survival had a price. Vexar would not forget this. He would hunt Noah across systems, across galaxies, and the crown, pulsing softly in Noah's hands, seemed to warn him of trials that were yet to come. The small ship moved on, carrying a boy who held a crown that could reignite a forgotten empire, and a crew who had no idea the galaxy would soon watch them all. The stars ahead were beautiful, but dangerous, and Noah knew, deep in his bones, that the journey was only beginning. Noah sat quietly in the cockpit, the crown heavy and warm on his head. The stars outside were endless, but they no longer felt comforting. They were full of eyes, full of hunters waiting for him to make a mistake. Every time he closed his eyes, the crown showed him visions, great halls filled with people, ships in formation, weapons that could destroy worlds. It was too much for one small boy, yet he could not stop seeing it. Rook flew the ship through a narrow system, avoiding patrols that scanned the space for intruders. He was tense, fingers moving over the controls with practiced precision. We are not safe anywhere, he said. Every world we pass, every jump we make, someone is looking for us. Noah nodded but said nothing. The crown pulsed, and he felt as though it understood him. It whispered paths and possibilities, showing him what Rook could not see. He did not understand it fully, but it guided him in subtle ways. Tor sat in the back, eyes closed. His mind was calm, though alert. He had fought many battles and seen many rulers rise and fall. He studied Noah without words, knowing that the boy held something extraordinary, something that could change the course of history. Lena worked at the engineering station, repairing damaged systems from their last encounter. Sparks flew from her hands as she adjusted circuits and thrusters. "We need more fuel," she said, frustration in her voice, "and somewhere safe to hide, or Vexar will never stop." Suddenly, the sensors beeped loudly. A hidden star vault appeared on the scanners, a structure long forgotten by time. It was massive, orbiting a dead planet. No one had visited it for generations. Legend said it contained the knowledge and power of the old empire, waiting for the rightful heir to claim it. Noah felt a pull. The crown guided him again. "That's it," he whispered. "We have to go there." Rook hesitated. It could be a trap. "No," Noah said, voice stronger than he expected. "It's the only chance we have." Tor stood and nodded. "I will go with you. I have seen what lies in those vaults. If the crown chose you, it will protect you there." The ship entered the vault's orbit. Massive doors, taller than mountains, slowly opened as if welcoming them. Inside, corridors stretched endlessly. Machines hummed, lights blinked, and a faint blue glow lit the walls. It was alive in a way that made Noah's stomach twist. This was more than a place. It was history, waiting to remember. Noah stepped inside first, the crown shining softly. Rook followed, keeping an eye on the corridors. Tor and Lena stayed close behind. The air was cool, almost sweet, and the walls seemed to hum in recognition of the crown. At the center of the vault, a massive AI unit activated. Its lights glowed bright as it scanned Noah from head to toe. "He is the one," the voice said, deep and clear. "The small crowned one who may reignite what was lost." Noah stepped back, heart racing. He did not know what to say. The crown pulsed again, almost urging him forward. Rook spoke quietly. "The empire fell because humans forgot how to lead, not because of enemies. If this AI is telling the truth, you are more than just a boy now." Noah looked around. The vault contained holograms of fleets, entire cities, and armies standing at attention. It showed the rise and fall of the old empire. Everything had been recorded, waiting for someone worthy to return. Tor placed a hand on Noah's shoulder. "Do not be afraid. Understanding comes in time. Right now we must survive." Suddenly, alarms blared. Sensors had detected Vexar's fleet approaching the vault. The hunters were fast and ruthless, their desire to claim the crown unshaken. Noah felt the crown tighten, almost like a warning. It showed him paths and escape routes, places the humans could not see. The AI spoke again. "Use the defenses. The vault awakens for its chosen." Rook understood. He began activating systems that had not been touched in centuries. Doors slid closed, shields rose, and weapon systems powered up. Lena assisted with a mix of awe and fear, her hands moving over the panels. Tor checked the perimeter, ready to defend. The first wave of attackers arrived. Ships fired blindly, but the vault responded. Energy beams shot from hidden turrets, intercepting missiles. The fleet was caught off guard. Noah guided the defense through the crown's visions, each command instinctive yet precise. It felt as if he could see the battle before it happened. Still, the danger was far from over. Vexar's flagship appeared, larger and more advanced than the others. It fired a blast that shook the vault and sent Rook stumbling. Lena's voice rang out, panicked. "It's too strong. The shields won't last. Noah felt the crown's warmth spread across his body. He did not fully understand it, but he made a decision. He stepped forward, hands glowing slightly from the crown's power. Light surged through the floor and walls, connecting the vault's defenses directly to him. He was no longer just a boy. He was the link, the focus. Energy streams fired from the vault, striking the flagship. Explosions rocked the hull. Vexar's ship faltered, then pulled back. The other ships scattered, confused and frightened by the vault's sudden power. Noah fell to his knees, exhausted and trembling. He had never felt so much strength and so much fear.
Rook helped him up. You did it, he said, voice shaking.
You really did it, Tor nodded. The crown guides, but you command. Remember that. This is only the beginning. Lena approached, wiping sweat from her face. If they come back, we need more than defense. We need allies. Allies took count. It pulsed softly, almost as if agreeing. He could see glimpses of the galaxy, of systems that could be restored, fleets that could rise. The weight of it pressed on him, but he also felt something new, hope. Outside the vault, Vexar swore, clenching his fists. He had underestimated the boy in the crown. Now he would prepare a larger fleet, more cunning and more dangerous. Noah and his small crew had only bought time. The vault quieted again, lights dimming. Noah placed a hand on the console, feeling the hum of machines awaken and wait. He was no longer just surviving. He was learning. He was becoming something that the galaxy had almost forgotten. And deep inside, the crown whispered of challenges ahead, of trials that would test not just strength, but heart and wisdom. Noah knew the journey would be long and difficult, but he also knew for the first time that he might have a chance to lead, to protect, and to reignite a forgotten empire that the galaxy would remember. Noah stood in the center of the vault, the crown warm against his head. Outside, Vexar's fleet lingered, watching, waiting. The boy could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on him, heavier than any weapon or ship. He was no longer just a survivor. He was a leader, chosen by something older than the stars, and the galaxy would test him. Rook worked beside him, adjusting consoles and preparing the defenses. His hands moved with skill, but his eyes betrayed concern. "Noah," he said, voice quiet, "this is only the beginning. The fleet will not retreat for long. We need to be ready."
Noah nodded. He had seen the crown's visions of fleets and cities, of battles and leaders.
It gave him ideas, strategies, even warnings. But experience was different. Reality was heavier. The vault hummed around him, alive and aware, as if waiting for him to take the first true command. Tor walked over, his eyes calm but alert. "We need more than defense," he said. "If they come again, it will not be enough to rely on this place. You must decide how to use what you have, and quickly. The Empire's old ways taught strength, but also wisdom. That is what will save you now." Noah's hands shook slightly. "I don't know if I can," he admitted. "I'm just a boy." "You are not just a boy," Tor said firmly. "You are the crown. And that makes you more than anyone in the galaxy expects." Lena joined them, wiping sweat from her brow. "We can fix some ships here. We can restore what the vault hides. But we will need guidance. You must tell us what to do." Noah closed his eyes, feeling the crown's warmth spread across him. It showed him the vault's secret chambers, the hidden warships, the strategies of the Empire long past. He could see paths that no one else could. He took a deep breath and began to give orders. "Lena, restore the engines on the cruiser in the West Bay. Tor, scout the perimeter and make sure no one sneaks in. Rook, prepare the energy cannons. If they attack, we will not only defend, we will strike back. The crew followed his commands with careful precision. The crown pulsed softly, almost approving, as if reminding Noah that each decision he made carried weight far beyond the walls of the vault. The fleet outside shifted, testing the defenses. Finally, the enemy made their move. Smaller ships darted toward the vault, weapons blazing. Noah's heart raced. He felt the crown's energy flow through him, guiding his commands, predicting the enemy's moves. The vault's cannons fired, intercepting missiles and energy blasts. Shields flared and absorbed the impact, protecting the smaller ships being restored. Noah directed the defense as if he had been trained for years, his young mind guided by the crown's visions and the experience of his companions. Tor engaged in hand-to-hand combat with a boarding party that somehow made it past the defenses. His strikes were precise, each movement calculated, defending both Noah and Lena as they worked. Lena shouted instructions as sparks flew from her station, her hands moving over circuits and panels to repair systems damaged in the attack. Rook piloted the cruiser as it emerged from the bay, lasers firing in calculated bursts. Noah could see the path through the chaos, issuing orders that turned confusion into strategy. The crown's warmth guided him, and he began to feel confidence he had never known. Vexar, watching from the flagship, clenched his fists. He had underestimated the boy. He sent more ships, larger this time, into the assault. The vault shook as energy beams cut through the sky, explosions lighting the darkness of space. Noah felt the crown tighten, almost like it was warning him of danger closer than he realized. One of the enemy ships broke through the outer defenses, heading straight for the vault. Noah acted without thinking, guided by instinct and crown visions. He directed the energy currents from the vault itself, drawing power through the walls and striking the ship with a precise beam that destroyed it instantly. The crew stared in awe at what the boy had done, but victory was not complete. The flagship remained, and Vexar's fleet had not retreated. The small crew realized the battle was only a delay. More would come. Noah's chest tightened, but he also felt something stronger: determination. He was not alone. He had Rook, Lena, and Tor. He had the crown. And now he understood that the Empire had not fallen because of enemies, but because leaders lacked courage and wisdom. He would not repeat that mistake. The vault hummed around him, lights dimming after the battle. Noah stepped forward, placing his hands on a control panel, feeling the life of the vault in his fingers. He had led a defense, guided a fleet, and survived. He was learning the true weight of command. Rook placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did well," he said. "Better than I could have hoped. But Vexar will return."
You must be ready. Noah nodded, understanding that survival was only the first step.
The crown pulsed again, a gentle reminder that power without action was useless. He would have to act, to plan, and to inspire. The Empire's old lessons were not just about ships and weapons. They were about leadership, strategy, and hope. Tor spoke again, his voice calm but firm. "You are learning, but there is more to come. The galaxy will not wait for you to be ready. You must rise now." Noah felt the crown's warmth spread through him, and he finally understood. Leadership was not about size, age, or strength alone. It was about courage, choice, and heart. He looked at his companions in the vault, feeling the weight and promise of what lay ahead. Outside, the stars continued their endless march. Vexar's fleet had not disappeared. They were preparing for the next attack, more determined and more dangerous. But Noah no longer felt small or afraid. He had taken his first step as the small crowned one, and the galaxy would soon see that even a boy could ignite change that could not be stopped. Noah sat at the central console of the vault, the crown heavy on his head. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but they were no longer peaceful. Messages came from distant systems, signals of hope and fear, of curiosity and war. The small crowned one had begun to be noticed. People spoke of a child leading the remnants of the empire. Some wanted to kneel, some wanted to fight, and some wanted to destroy him. Rook stood nearby, his arms crossed, watching the readouts. "We cannot trust anyone yet," he said. "Every system that hears of the crown will decide where it stands. Some may help, but many will see us as a threat." Noah nodded, feeling the crown pulse against his skull. It showed him glimpses of other worlds, other rulers, other fleets. He could see patterns, understand alliances that could form, and enemies that could rise. But more than that, he felt the weight of responsibility. The empire had fallen before, not because of strength alone, but because leaders failed to act wisely. He could not fail. Lena adjusted a power relay. "If we restore more ships, we can reach allies quickly. But it will take time. And every second we wait, Vexar plans his next move." Noah nodded. "Then we cannot wait." He stood, feeling the crown's warmth spread through his body, grounding him. "Prepare the cruiser fleet. Tor, we will scout neighboring systems. We will offer protection to those who will follow us. This empire will rise again, not by fear, but by choice." Tor's yellow eyes glowed. "You understand something many rulers do not. Power is not just taken, it is earned." Rook shook his head, a mixture of awe and worry on his face. "I never thought I'd see a boy lead like this. The crown may guide you, but the galaxy will not forgive mistakes." Noah did not speak. He could feel the truth of it. Every decision he made now could save or destroy worlds. And the first challenge came sooner than expected. Sensors blared. Vexar's fleet had regrouped and arrived in greater numbers. His flagship led the charge, massive and dangerous. Smaller ships swarmed like predatory fish, seeking to overwhelm the vault. Noah felt the crown's energy tighten, urging him to act. He moved quickly, directing the vault's defenses with clarity and precision. Energy beams cut through the oncoming ships. Missiles were intercepted. Shields flared and absorbed impacts. The crown pulsed in his mind, giving him insight into the enemy's movements. Noah was no longer just following instinct. He was predicting, leading, and controlling. Lena's hands flew over the panels, adjusting power flow, repairing shields, and coordinating the fleet. Tor engaged in combat with boarding parties that breached the outer hull. Rook piloted one of the cruisers, firing in precise bursts. Together, under Noah's guidance, they turned a desperate defense into a counterattack. Noah felt something new: determination. He was no longer just defending. He was taking control. Using the crown's visions, he led the cruisers in maneuvers that no enemy commander expected. Ships that were thought to be legends came alive, guided by his commands. One by one, Vexar ships fell, but Vexar's flagship remained. It fired a blast that shook the vault, sending sparks across the floor and panels flying. Rook shouted an alarm as systems flickered. Lena's voice rang out, panicked.
"It's too strong. The shields won't hold." Noah took a deep breath.
He could feel the crown's power surging through him, connecting to the vault, to the ships, to the very energy around him. He focused, giving precise commands. The vault responded. Weapons fired with perfect timing, energy redirected to intercept the flagship's fire. The ship faltered, retreating to regroup. The crew stared at Noah in awe. He was no longer the frightened boy who had fled Arvin. He was a commander, a strategist, and a symbol of hope. Yet he felt the weight of every life under his command. Every choice carried consequences. Every command mattered. Tor approached him, placing a hand on his shoulder.
You are learning, but remember this. Power is not enough.
Trust, courage, and wisdom will guide you further. And enemies will come, stronger and more cunning. Noah nodded. He looked at the crown, feeling its warmth and guidance. He understood now that the Empire could rise, not through fear or force alone, but through hope, choice, and the resolve to act wisely. He had taken the first steps, and the galaxy was beginning to see it. Messages continued to arrive from distant worlds. Some offered allegiance. Others demanded surrender. Noah studied them carefully, weighing options. Each decision mattered, and the crown whispered guidance, showing paths and possibilities. He began sending messages of protection, of fairness, of unity. Slowly, alliances began to form, but the war was not over. Vexar would return, with more ships, more cunning, and more fury. The small, crowned one knew that each victory now was only preparation for the trials ahead. The galaxy watched, curious and fearful, as a boy led a small fleet that could grow into something far greater. Noah stood at the center of the vault, crown glowing softly. He was no longer just surviving. He was preparing to lead. And the Empire, once forgotten, began to remember, not through fear, not through oppression, but through courage, hope, and the choices of a boy who was learning to be a ruler. Noah stood at the command deck of the rebuilt flagship, the crown resting on his head, glowing softly with the weight of its power. The vault and its fleets had become a symbol of hope across the galaxy. Systems once forgotten looked to him now, curious, fearful, and hopeful. Noah felt the burden of it all pressing on him, but he did not falter. He had learned to listen to the crown, to his companions, and, most importantly, to himself. Rook stood at his side, eyes scanning the final reports of Vexar's fleet movements. "They are gathering near the old capital," he said. "This is where they will make their final strike. It will not be easy." Noah nodded. He had expected this. The crown had shown him visions of the battle to come, ships clashing in the skies, fleets moving like rivers, and the choices that could change everything. He had felt fear, but he had also felt determination. He would not run. He would not hide. He would lead. Tor adjusted his stance, ready for combat. "They have brought everything," he said. "We will face strength, fire, and cunning. You must remember what you have learned. Your mind is sharper than theirs because your heart is not clouded by greed or hate." Lena worked at the control panels, making sure that every system was ready. Engines, weapons, shields, all operational. "Fleet ready for your orders." Noah looked at each of them, feeling the weight of responsibility and the strength of his companions. "We fight not to conquer," he said. "We fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves, to protect hope." The fleet moved out of the vault's orbit and into open space. Ahead, the ruined capital loomed, dark and broken. Vexar's armada waited, massive and ready. His flagship burned with energy, a threat that could crush everything Noah had built. But Noah did not fear. He felt the crown's guidance, the lessons of the Empire, and the support of those at his side. The battle began with a storm of energy beams and missiles, Ships darted and dodged, clashing in a display of power and strategy. Noah's commands were precise, moving the fleet in patterns that confused the enemy. Tor led boarding teams to disable key ships. Lena's hands worked tirelessly, keeping systems at peak performance. Rook piloted the flagship with skill, following Noah's guidance with perfect timing. Vexar's flagship unleashed a powerful blast aimed directly at Noah's command deck. The crown pulsed violently, connecting Noah to the vault's energy, the fleet, and even the battlefield itself. He directed the energy with clarity and force, redirecting the blast and sending it back toward the flagship. Vexar's ship shuddered and faltered, but it did not fall. Noah knew that this was the moment that would decide everything. He could end the threat, or he could destroy the chance for hope to live. He closed his eyes, feeling the crown's energy, listening to its guidance. Then he made a choice. Instead of destruction, he focused on disabling the enemy without killing. Energy beams struck key systems, engines, and weapons, rendering the fleet immobile. Vexar's flagship, though battered, floated helplessly. The enemy crew hesitated, realizing that the boy leading them had chosen mercy over vengeance. Tor's voice rang out. It worked. "They're not attacking!" Noah opened his eyes and saw the enemy ships lowering weapons, shields down, unable to fight further. The galaxy held its breath. Noah spoke, his voice calm but commanding, reaching through comms to every system watching. The crown does not belong to one. The empire does not rise through fear. Choose to live, choose to protect, and you can rise with us. Across the fleet, systems began to respond. Some surrendered, some pledged allegiance, and others simply watched, amazed at the courage of a small boy commanding the forces of an empire reborn. Vexar's eyes blazed with fury, but he realized he had lost. He could fight no longer. He bowed, defeated, and withdrew with what remained of his fleet. The galaxy was silent for a moment, the stars holding the memory of the battle in their endless light. Noah removed the crown for the first time in days. He set it aside, feeling the weight leave his head but remain in his heart. He had not only survived, he had led, guided, and inspired. The vault hummed quietly, lights dimming as if acknowledging the success of its chosen. Rook clapped a hand on his shoulder. "You did it, boy. You led, and you won." Tor nodded, eyes calm and approving. Leadership is not in fear or force. It is in choice and courage. You have learned that. Lena smiled, exhausted but proud. The Empire has a chance now because of you.
Noah looked out at the stars, feeling the weight and promise of what lay ahead.
He knew that more challenges would come, more threats would rise, but he also knew that humanity and hope could endure. The small crowned one had not only reignited a forgotten empire, he had reminded the galaxy that courage, wisdom, and choice could shine even in the darkest of times. And so, with the crown set aside but never forgotten, Noah stood ready to lead. The stars watched, and the galaxy began a new age, one born not of fear or conquest, but of hope, courage, and the choice of a small boy who became a symbol of all that humanity could achieve.